Hello and welcome to the Disable the Label podcast. I'm your host, Kerry, and on our podcast we'll be chatting about all things disability, holidays, equipment, therapy, funding, you name it, and we'll talk about it. We want to empower and support parents of disabled children across the UK whilst they navigate their child's life. So, what are we waiting for? Let's get into it. This podcast is sponsored by Adaptive Yoga Live. They have adaptive yoga sessions running every Sunday at 10 a.m. for free via Zoom. So if you'd like to sign your child up now, head over to our app and click on Adaptive Yoga Live. On this episode, we have Daksha from Kes-vir Swimwear. She comes to chat all things swimwear and disability, about all the products that they have, what their best sellers are, and even what their up and coming products are going to be. There is a little bit of muffled noise in the background, but hopefully you still enjoy it. Hello and welcome to the podcast. Today we have Daksha. Daksha, welcome.
Thank you, Kerry. Thank you for having me on this podcast. My name is Daksha Mystery, and I'm looking forward to this chat.
Cool. So, tell us about the company that you own and that you work for, etc.
So I started a company called Incy back in 1996, many moons ago, and I know I was just selling swimwear for little babies and children. I had two little ones myself, so it was something I wanted to do, was to start my own business rather than just be stay-at-home mum. Yes, and then eventually a lot of people were asking for nappies, swim nappies for disabled people and older children. So I started researching, and one thing led to another. And back in 2021, I launched my own brand, Kes-vir Swimwear. And the whole ethos was to create something that was normal, discreet, but also functional, because there was nothing on the market at that time for children or adults, for that fact. Yeah, so that's how I started, really.
Cool. So did you first, when you first started Kes-vir, was it just kids swimwear or was it adults at the same time? Did you just do both, or did you just focus on kids to start with?
So initially I started with the children's. It was a good follow-up from what I was already reselling on the Incy website. So my first call was to create one suit for boys and one for girls. But what I wanted the swimwear to be was adjustable, so that's what I did. So I started one halter neck for the girls and then swim trunks for the boys.
Okay, cool. So the girls' side, we went straight into swimming costumes, I'm guessing, and then where did you then go from there? How did you know what exactly was needed? Were you being contacted by parents of disabled kids so that because how did you know that there needed to be adjustable? Was that just kind of something that you learned from having just having babies or having young kids?
That's a really good question. The reason there's a really good reason for having this. A lot of the children that I met, I also visited schools at the time, special needs schools, and also from being an on-seller, we used to receive a lot of feedback from parents. When you get a return, you always ask why have they returned it, and a lot of the times they were returning it because the swimsuits or the swimwear they had at the time wasn't fitting them around the legs. So a lot of the children whose muscles are not quite fully formed, they would need to have something that's more fitting. because they don't fit into regular sizes. Their legs are maybe too slim, or their waistline is too slim for the portion of their body. So yeah, that's the reason for having adjustment, was so that they can buy a swimsuit and not have to send it somewhere for a adjustment of any kind, alterations and things like that. Yeah, so it avoided having alterations done, which is quite an expensive thing to do, and that's the reason for having the adjustment. Yeah.
Parents. Yeah, and I know, like, having worked with some of these children, that's something that they all struggle with in clothes, let alone swim stuff, which is kind of important to stay on in a pool, obviously, and to keep everything in. So that's amazing that you kind of had that feedback, and you took it in a positive way to kind of get it right for the kids.
Yeah, exactly. It wasn't sort of easy, but we did it.
Yeah. What did that process look like? How did you have to play around with a few different ideas to get it to the point that you felt that it was okay? Did you do any test runs? Did you ask any parents that if they could test it and let you know, or did you just kind of have to hope that it was right?
Well, we did ask parents, and they just wanted something that would fit, so having a really tight elastic was out of the question. You can't just do that because it's not going to fit other children. Yes, we did do lots of experiments. We bought so many different accessories, put them together, it was all trial and error. Eventually, one of the companies I was using, what I said to them, why don't we try something like a bra strap, because that's adjustable, maybe create a ring. So I got them to create a ring, and then we messed about with it, because what didn't want was, once it's tightened, it mustn't loosen while they're wearing it. So it needs to stay in place while they're wearing it, so it doesn't become loose with movement. So yes, eventually we came up with the right elastic and a right what we call a slider, and right mechanism, so that it actually feeds in. The elastic doesn't stick out once you've tightened it. So that was the whole thing, to make it look neat and discreet. Exactly. So that's what I didn't want. So we tried it out. We tried stretching it, and did all sorts of things with it, just to make sure that it doesn't come loose while the person's wearing their swimsuit. So yeah, we came up. I bought so many different elastics, contacted so many different companies, and we came up with the right one in the end, that would work on the swimwear. So yeah, it took about 6 to 8 months.
Wow. Patience and time obviously needed.
Yes, exactly.
But you now have a fantastic product. So then you went, did you then expand that into adults as well, or kind of, because obviously it's all well and good for, I suppose, a lot of my parents that might be listening might just have children, but then they grow up, so eventually they, even as like young adults, they still need that kind of swimwear. So what was the reason you then went into adults as well? Was that just because you then were being asked by older people for swimsuits, or was that because people had started using the swimsuits and then they were getting bigger, or
Yeah, exactly. So I already had planned to do adults, but it was because I was financing myself. I wasn't going out to find money for it and all that. It was all self-financing. So yes, what I did was I made 6 sizes for the kids. So we already had babies swim nappies on the market, and it went up to 2 years old. So my range started at 3 for when they stopped using, the children's ones, the toddler ones, and then they moved straight on to our swimwear. So I did 6 sizes going up to size age 13 to 14. Yes, there was a demand. People were saying, when are you going to make the adult ones? So I actually had to use my own skills, because I did a fashion design course, so I knew how to do pattern cutting. So rather than spend money that I didn't have, going to a pattern cutter and all that, trying to do it, I did it myself, created the pattern. And then I found a pattern cutter who would do the actual pattern for me. So I had the design already, and then I sent it off to them with the measurements, and they created the pattern. Again, it took good 6 months back and forth before we got all the measurements right and everything, because there's a big difference between children's swimwear and adult swimwear as far as patterns are concerned. So yes, we had to make sure that we got all that right before we and also the main difficulty was the use of 2 different fabrics. The waterproof fabric isn't stretchy, but the swimwear fabric is. So I had to create a pattern that was big enough, rather than having it, relying on it stretching. I had to have it big enough so that it would fit a person, but the outer shell was smaller, if you see what I mean. So I had to sort of mix and match and work out how to put that together. And it was harder with the adults, because you're working with more fabric.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. And people don't really think about that, I suppose. The contrast of the liner, it doesn't stretch, so you're going to have 2 different kind of sizes, I suppose. So then your adult sizes, what do they range from then?
So with the men, we started where the slightly bigger than because where the boys finished, but slightly bigger, because we found that when the boys finish using those sizes, the swimwear actually stretched with them, so it was no longer the size that they had, the portion that they were bought, it was a little bit bigger. So we started at I took the standard sizing for men and started from there and worked it up to about extra large, which was like 38 waist. And then with the ladies, I started at size 8, because girls' shape changed differently to boys, if you see what I mean. So some girls are, when they get into adulthood, they're still petite, they're not big. So with the girls, I thought I'd start with the size 8, because there might be older girls, but in with a women's body shape, and things like that. So I had to think of all sorts of things, and I did about 9 sizes for the ladies. I wanted to do single sizes for the ladies, because I think it's important that the fit is good on each swimsuit, rather than having 2 combined sizes.
It's a bit different, isn't it?
It is, yeah, exactly. So I opted to do that.
It's a lot easier in men's sizes.
Yeah, it is. You just have one size. You just take it in at the waist. It was.
Whereas women, you're doing basically their whole body.
Exactly. Yeah, that was the thing. Creating something that was long enough, fitted nicely, and was discreet as well. That was the difficult part, combining all those elements together. But the more you play around with things, the more ideas you get, and that's these ideas evolve into what you want, what is on the market now that we've produced. So yeah, it was a case of a lot of experiments.
Yeah, by the sounds of it, well, it's going to have to be. It's the only way that you can find out. So, so what would you say is your best-selling product that you have?
Well, I'll split it into two, because we've got best-selling for adults and we've got bestsellers for kids as well. So our bestseller for the kids is our board shorts. They've got jellyfish, they're blue and lime, and they look like ordinary shorts, but they've got those waterproof liners inside them stitched in. So they're one of our best. We've had, in the short period of time, we've only had them going for about 3.5 years, but we've had 5 productions of those done, which is amazing, so it's grown from, say, just 300 to nearly 1,000 at a time. And they're really popular. For the girls, I would say it's the halter neck swimsuit, because it's easy to pull on. You just clip it on the back. You don't need to worry about putting your arms through, because a lot of the kids have restricted movements in their limbs. So making something that's easy to wear is really important. For the adults, I would say the men's shorts. I've had them from day one. I started them about in 2012. It has evolved according to the feedback we've had from the wearers. We've been tweaking them over the years, and they seem to fly out. They come in and they fly out. We've sold out within 2 months after the 2-3 months after the pandemic. So we're struggling with the factory's struggling to keep up now. So we thought, okay, we're going to stick to this. But it is amazing to to see that something like that works and it helps so many people. It's just mind-blowing for me. So I would say those are the popular.
I think it's amazing what you said about why you did the halter neck, because for somebody that doesn't have a disabled child, for them to be thinking outside the box like that, in my point of view, that's amazing, because it doesn't happen that often. And you're right, arms are the most difficult things to get into. Coats, t-shirts, jumpers, etc., which obviously is out of your hands. You have to put an arm in, but to make it 10 times easier, halter neck is key, definitely, and it's amazing. So do you do bikinis as well as swimsuits for women and girls, or do you just do swimsuits?
We don't do bikinis as such. I think we found when I did my market research, we found there wasn't many takers for bikinis. A lot of the adults prefer to have something that's modest, so I've selected to go with tankinis, which is like a nice vest top and briefs and shorts. So that's selling quite well. With the girls, we've done exactly the same. We've done a top and a bottom, because when you've got a child who's tube fed or something like that, or stoma, they don't want anything showing. So but bikini's not out of the question for the children's one. I think we will be going into that sooner or later. But every production I've been adding a new style, new colour as I go along, and it's working quite well so far.
Yeah, sounds good. So do you have any new products that are coming out anytime soon, or anything that you're thinking about doing? I didn't know if you had any sneak peeks that you could tell us about.
Absolutely. I've been working on this project for about coming up to 4 years, and we've had so many samples done. I know there's products like that out there on the market, but yes, so it's going to be briefs for girls who are on periods, because we constantly get asked if we do swimwear, if they can wear our swimwear when they're on their periods. And because pads get waterlogged, I had to create something that will absorb, but also keep everything in. So yes, I did a lot of experiments, worked with a wonderful lady called Emily, and I asked her to source some organic fabrics for me and things like that, and the fabrics that keep you dry on the skin. And yes, so finally we've got period pants for women and girls coming out by the end of this year. So I'm really looking forward to that. And then I've combined that with a little bag, a wet dry bag, so they can put their dry clothes in one side and then the wet clothes in the other, and the two stay in their own compartments. So we've got 2 products coming out we're really looking forward to, but it's been a long time coming. So,
yeah, but that's another difficult, honestly, that's a difficult thing to create. That's amazing. I think definitely, I know personally from the girls that I've worked with who are obviously now, in 15, 16, something that they were definitely looking into when they obviously first started. And I think it's difficult to find the right thing for them, and them to feel confident in what they're wearing, etc. So that's really cool. It's super exciting. I can't wait for that. So how can people follow you and keep up to date with what you're bringing out and all your products, etc.?
Well, we're on the social media platform. We're on Facebook, so it's Kes-vir with a hyphen, KES-VIR, and Instagram Kes-vir Swimwear, and we're also on Twitter under @Kes-vir, KES-VIR. So we are going to put it on our website first in the next few weeks, the new products. So we've already had so many orders come through for them, and I just can't wait until the production comes for the period pants. So all the new products will go onto our website, which is kesvir.co.uk, and then we will be publishing it, posting it on our social media as well. It's exciting times.
Amazing. That's super exciting. Yeah, totally. And obviously people can find you on our free app if you have that. That's under clothing. You can find all the details if you can't find online. All your details are on there that they can click on the links and take you to a website. But thank you so much for coming on and chatting and letting us know. It's been really interesting to hear like the process of how you've got to where you are and what you've been doing, and the fact that you're going into period pants is amazing, I think. So it's definitely like a next stage, of course. So how exciting for you. I'm really excited and looking forward to seeing how well it goes.
Thank you. Yes, this year's been amazing. Thank you for having me, though. This has been amazing, and I hope more and more people learn about us. We want to spread the word, because it's not easy in this day and age to say there is products out there. You can go swimming, you can feel safe, you can feel confident, and nobody knows you have an issue. So that's the most important thing.
Yeah, totally. I agree. I think it's hard to get people to find out about you, etc. And I think, you know, the more people that know, the more people that can use your products and share about you, because that's when you find a good product like yours, everyone wants to know about it, but at the same time people don't want to like tell, because they don't want their stuff to get then sold out so they then can't get the next size, you know. I know in the disability community that parents love sharing when they find something that's amazing for their child, so definitely.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, our customers are our, you know, best champion people. You know, they champion our products all the time, and yeah, we really appreciate it. And this is how we've grown organically. You know, word of mouth. Parents love us, so they let everybody else know, and that's so important. You know, when you trying to take a product out, you want that feedback from your customers to let you know exactly, you know, what you're doing is right, or maybe what you're doing is wrong. So it works both ways. Yeah, and we've been really fortunate. We've had brilliant customers that come to us over and over again, and they'll tell us if something doesn't work. They will let us know. So yeah, we really appreciate that.
Yeah, because you know, nothing is. Yeah, that's amazing. And it's really good. I think it's really great to take on feedback, and obviously you are, and you always probably will do. And I think it's key for something so small to grow. But I think also just, you know, you're listening, you're giving people what they need, and you're listening to them, and that's like the main thing, isn't it? Like, you can't do anything more than that. And I think it just shows in everyone talking about you and sharing. Growing organically, obviously that's how that works. So I wish you all the luck in the world for your launch, and I hope that goes amazingly. I'm looking forward to seeing it.
Thank you so much, Kerry. It's been wonderful chatting to you, and yeah, we hope to, well, we'll keep in touch.
Thanks for tuning in to the Disable the Label podcast. Don't forget to subscribe and leave us a comment to let us know what you thought of this episode. More episodes will be coming soon, so make sure you tune in. Don't forget you can download our app for free via the App Store. That's Google Play or Apple App Store. Just search Disable the Label and you'll find us.